This is a time where the train of history is knocking at the door of the Middle East. And it's a train not to be missed. It's a time where dictators are falling, and they shall fall. As sure as the sun will rise tomorrow, this is a fact. Nevertheless, the road towards democracy and freedom is long and hard. The risks are big. Extremism is threatening. Still, nothing should divert the people from the ultimate goals, which is democracy, freedom, and the fulfillment of the human rights. Today, we face two main challenges. First, to establish the road to democracy. Second, to oppose extremism. The Middle East has suffered for years from the absence of democracy and freedom. Dictators imposed arbitrary regimes solely through the brutality of their security forces. The local Arab elite accepted to yield to the interest of such regime. The media became a tool to support them. Universities brainwashing machine to promote them, while the economy was hijacked by the government clan. An unfortunate realization is that we have ended up believing dictatorship is an inevitable fatality in this part of the world. The summit of abuse was reached when Hafiz al-Assad succeeded in relegating the power to his son Bashar al-Assad. The Arab Spring started. Tyrants proved that they would not step down without bloodshed. Dictators proved that they have no limits. But weapons and brutality shall never prevail. The long Arab history and now the young Arab Spring are proving that freedom, not tyranny, is the ultimate evidence. Dictators are and shall always remain a perversion of the course of history. We all know that people will suffer to defeat despotism. Though their systems are becoming more and more sophisticated, nothing can get in the way of the people's will. Dictators become naked and weak despite any amount of denial they show when a unified population stands and voice its natural rights. Playing the watch is useless. The regime will fall like others before them. I know that the free Syrian may feel discouraged by the lack of international support, by death, injuries, or loss. But they must always remember that the light comes after darkness. It shall take time, but ultimately the tyrant will step down. Here I would like to send a message to all tyrants by citing an old Greek proverb, which is, the Tarpeian rock is very close to the Parthenon, which means that the center of power is very close to the death penalty. As we've seen, the tribunal of history has already started to sentence the local dictators. The only way found by the criminal regimes to oppose the Arab Spring was to argue that they will be replaced by religious fundamentalist powers. We know that this risk exists. We know that religious party won the election in Egypt and in Tunisia. We know as well that religion is becoming predominant in Libya. We know also that the dictators favored such movement to justify their own existence. However, Arabs should be able to fight together for freedom and diversity. One does not go without the other, and both of them must prevail. We have learned from history that extremism, whether political or religious, always tries to take advantage of the fight for democracy. The French Revolution needed years to transition from obscurantism to pacified democracy. With the modern evolution, I am confident that Arab will be able to achieve the same in a far shorter period. A unified people must not be afraid of the threats of extremism, and the minorities of the region must contribute in a proactive manner to the march of history. The temptation of fear must be rejected, and to the contrary, minorities should lead to the construction of democracy. It's not an option. It's not a tactic to be on the winning side. It's a moral duty. Minorities are part of this region and must bear their responsibility as much as they claim their rights. As pioneer of change, as Christians in Lebanon have done throughout the struggle to democracy and independence, all minorities must send a strong message in favor of democracy and diversity. I trust that people will never give up in their fight for the noble and just cause, despite all ambushes and difficulties. It's important to remember that dictators are fundamentally weak. By regaining our own power, we free ourselves. And the most dangerous prison for a people is the one that it creates for itself. Long flourish life to the Arab Spring. And thank you.